few days ago, I was walking with the kids in the neighborhood and we came across this 12-volt electric vehicle for kids that was abandoned and thrown away in the garbage. The vehicle looked in a very bad condition, a lot of leaves inside, and it looked like it was left out for the past couple of years maybe. So I told the kids, do not touch it. It's dirty and it looks broken. The front cover was open, and I told them not to touch it. And the kids said, why not take it home and try to fix it? We'll figure out what's wrong with the car and see if we can make it work. So I thought, great idea. It's a nice project to do with the kids. Maybe we can take it home. Aside from the price, I do not know how much those vehicles go for. Maybe $200, $300. This is a 12-volt vehicle, so it cannot be over $200. But aside from the price, I agreed to take it home so we can figure out what's wrong with it. It's a nice project to do with the kids, and the kids can learn how that vehicle works. I've worked on a similar vehicle in the past where a customer brought a similar vehicle to our shop and I had no clue where to look or what to do. But how hard can it be to work on this vehicle, right? And that's what I figured out the last time I worked on such a vehicle. You have the battery, you have the controller box, you have the shifter, you have the pedal, you have the on-off switch, you have the ignition switch, and you have the wires and the motors. How hard can it be? I did work on this vehicle a few days ago just to know what to buy, and I'll go over the steps of what I took in order to figure out what the problem is, and we'll attempt to fix this together. Let me quickly show you the vehicle. I mean, after the kids cleaned it, it looks nice.
This is the dirtiest car I've ever seen in my life. Look what happened to the brush. We need a better brush.
Good job, guys. You're doing a good job. The dashboard in the front, maybe it looks a little worn out, but the seats, the overall condition is awesome. The tires, and like I said, how much is that vehicle? Now, the first thing that I did was inspect the battery. That's number one. You want to know if the battery is good, if the battery is supplying power to the vehicle. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to troubleshoot anything else. This is the old battery and this is the new battery. I ended up buying a new battery, and I'll tell you how I figured out that we have a bad battery. Now, this is a 12-volt battery, right? Let's put the meter in DC voltage mode. All right? And we're gonna measure the voltage on the battery. We should have something around 12 volts, maybe 12.5 volts, maybe 13 volts. If the battery is low, maybe 11 volts, 10 volts, critical, maybe the battery is bad. Anything below 10 volts, I would call this battery bad, and it's not gonna be able to charge anymore. So if we put the red probe on red, black one on black, look at this. We are reading 3.7 volts, right? 3.7 volts. The battery is dead. We can no longer make use of the battery and we can no longer revive that battery. So I bought another one, another 12-volt battery from Amazon. Not that much, but like I said, aside from the price, we want to figure out what the problem is with the vehicle, aside from how much it's going to cost us to fix that vehicle. I plugged a new battery in, and guess what? Dead. So I wanted to make sure the battery is good, and the new battery is measuring 12.9 volts. So we know the new battery is good. Why is the vehicle not powering on? Like I said, based on my experience working on this vehicle 3 years ago, and I figured out a lot of things when I initially worked on a vehicle like this, where few things could go wrong. Now, the first thing that I did was I ordered a controller box, another controller box. And the reason I decided to replace this box is because I wanted the box to come with a remote control. I have a 20-month-old baby, and we can make use of that remote control. We can control the vehicle with the remote. The vehicle did not come with the remote control. So I thought if this controller box is bad, then we're gonna fix the vehicle by replacing that box, even though I did not do any measurements, but I wanted to get that box anyway, so we can get the remote along with the box, even if that box is good. I wanna make use of that vehicle if we fix it. My small kid can ride it, and we can control his vehicle with this remote. How much is the remote plus the controller box? $20. Okay, so we are $40 in. Great. We got the controller box. and I installed the controller box inside here, right there. And it's not that difficult. You unplug this cable from the old one and you put it here. You unplug this cable, and this cable. So how many cables do you have? 4 cables. Unplug from the old one and plug it back in the new one. And guess what? If I turn that vehicle on, it does not turn on still. This is the dashboard here. I removed it from the front. And you can see the on button. We have the button on, but no signs of life. No lights, no headlights, no front lights, and no signs of life. I press on the shifter, back and forth, and nothing. A new controller box and new battery. What's going on? So the next thing in the process is to check if this switch is actually working. Like I said, the vehicle was wet when we found it. It was in a very bad condition. Maybe it's one of the things you have to check before you move to the next step. So how do we check if this switch is working? We go to continuity mode, red probe on any one of the pins. We have 2 pins here, and the black probe on the second pin. Okay? I turned off the switch and the sound is gone. I'm gonna turn it back on. Okay? We have a sound. So when the switch is on, we have a continuous path. When the switch is off, it's disconnecting. So the switch is 100% good. The switch is good. We replace the battery. We replace the controller box. What's going on? So the next thing in the process is a couple of things. We want to check on the charging connector. We want to check on the pedal, and we want to check on the shifter. If there's a short circuit on the shifter, on the pedal, or there's a problem with the charging port, it's going to cut power to the vehicle. It's going to prevent the vehicle from turning on. But the most important one is the charging port. Now, the way the charging port works, and I'm going to show you what I did here. This is the charging port. Okay? 3 wires, red, brown, and black. It could also be red, black, and black. 12 volts on the red. One of them is ground, and the other one is signal. Why the signal? Now, those ports are designed in a way where if you have the charging cable plugged in, the signal cable is going to send the signal to the controller box to let the controller box know that there's a charging cable plugged in. Do not let the kid run away with the vehicle, turn the vehicle on and drive it while that cable is plugged in. Only allow power to the vehicle if that charging cable is not plugged in. Sometimes what happens is those charging connectors fail, and the vehicle thinks that you have the charging cable plugged in, and it cuts power to the whole vehicle, and then you're not going to get any power. You're not going to be able to power on or drive that vehicle. So I measured. What I do is I put my ground probe on ground, the ground side of the battery, and the red probe on signal. If I read a signal, it means the vehicle thinks that the charging cable is plugged in. And I did read a 0.8 volt signal on the brown wire, which means the vehicle thinks that a charging cable is plugged in. So I ordered the charging connector. It came along with the wires and also a fuse. I do not need a fuse in that charging cable because I do have a fuse attached to the battery here. This is a fuse that can reset by itself. And we already have one here. We do not need to have a fuse on the charging cable. And how much is this charging cable? $10. So we are $50 in. Again, it's not about the money. We want to fix the vehicle. I want to show the kids that if we put our mind into something, we can fix it. Maybe it's time to zoom in to the inside here. The charging cable, the charging port, or the charging module that I bought is right here. So if you look here, red, black, and black. The original one was black, brown, and red. It doesn't matter. Colors do not matter. We have 12 volts. This will go to the connector connecting to the controller box. Right here, you see this cable has a connector that connects with the controller box, and the red wire is going there. And then that same hole on the connector splices into another red wire that goes to the battery. And then we have a black wire that goes to ground on the battery. And then we have the sense wire, the one in the middle that goes right here. So if there's a charging cable plugged in, it's going to give a signal. If charging cable is not plugged in, it's not going to give a signal. So now we do not have a charging cable plugged in. I'm going to put one probe on the battery ground. I got the battery right here, so black probe on the black part of the battery. And the red probe goes right here. Let's monitor the multimeter. And we have 12.8 volts, right? Now, let's put the probe right here. We have 0. You see, the sense cable is reading 0. We do not have a charging cable plugged in. If we had a charging cable plugged in, then this would read less than 1 volt, around 0.8 volts. Okay, so we replaced the charging connector, the charging module, right? It was causing a fault where the car would think that there's a cable plugged in. But still, I mean, one problem after another. One problem after another. The controller, the power button is on. Nothing, no signs of life, no power, no lights. Shifter, pedal, buttons, nothing, no signs of life. If you look at the dashboard here, let's call it a dashboard. We have 3 buttons. We have probably a light. We have the on-off button. And we have another button here, which is more or less like a power switch. So we have 2 power switches. But the purpose of this one here is to give the kid the feeling that he has to turn the vehicle on first. And then when you press this, it's like you turn the key on a vehicle. It's going to make that ignition turning sound. And it's going to turn that vehicle on. So basically, it's like having 2 power switches. Let's say we do not have this button here. Let's say we got rid of this button and we kept it always on. We connected the 2 wires in the back and we kept it always on. Then you can operate the vehicle with this one button only. But when you turn the power button on, it's not going to make the ignition sound that you turn the car on. So this button is more like something that kids would love to press to hear that ignition sound and then operate the vehicle. So if this button is not working, it's going to prevent power from going to the vehicle. It's like having another power switch. Even though this power switch is on, if this one is not engaged, then the vehicle is not going to receive power. So how can we test this? How can we know if this button is good or not good? We can test by putting the meter in continuity mode. One here and one here. Oh wow. And if I press on the button, no change. We should have a continuous path when I press on the button. Nothing. That tells me the problem is the button. How can we be sure? We can short out the red and the white wire. We can short them out. If the vehicle powers on, it means our problem is this button. If the vehicle still does not power on, then the next step would be to check the shifter and the pedal. But let's go ahead and touch red with white. If you check the controller box here, we have a big connector with a lot of wires, a lot of colors. We are interested in red and white, and those are the wires that are going to the round power switch. Red, and this white. Okay, so let me quickly splice the cables in the middle. Okay. We have a break in the middle. I exposed copper. Now, if I touch the 2 cables together and the vehicle powers on, then the problem is that round button. And I can confirm the problem is the button because we measured, we tested. Let's touch the 2 cables together. And, oh, wait. I unplugged positive from the battery, okay? Let's check now. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Lights came on. See, lights came on, and I see lights on the headlight in the front. That circular power button is the problem, is the final problem, hopefully. We still have to test it if it moves forward and backwards. So now I'm gonna touch red and white. Vehicle turns on. You can see the light in the front. This light looks like maybe it's a connection issue, or maybe the light itself is not good. The one on my right or my left. And let's put this in reverse, and I'm gonna press on the pedal, and look at this, the car goes back. Put it in the front, forward, press the power button, and the vehicle moves forward. Wow. We also have some buttons on the side here. Radio.
Wouldn't It Be Fun by Kimberly Watson.
The sound of victory, right?
If I can plant a seed and watch my garden grow, I could.
The fisherman and the fish.
A fisherman was good at playing.
All right. So we got it. We got it. Wow. So now all we have to do is buy that switch, that circular switch. I'll look it up online, replace it, put everything back together, and the kids can enjoy this vehicle. How much did it cost? Battery, $20. The controller box with the remote control, $20. And the charging cable, $10. The switch, maybe like $5, $6, $7, even if it's $10. $60 fixes the car. Amazing. We have a fully functioning vehicle now, and we did it. We figured it out.